Hello and welcome to StroongeCast episode 93.
Too hot for words.
Yeah, I suspect this won't be long, although every time we've said that in the past, it's not been the case. We have the AC on in the room this week, so if you hear a little bit more background noise, that's why. You shouldn't, because this plugin that we use is exceptionally good, but you never know. Anyways, how has your week been, my dear?
It's been disgustingly hot. Honestly. It's vile. This weather is not okay.
It does not agree with you?
It does not agree with me. I really, really suffer, as do a lot of people.
I think the US is laughing at us right now, most of the US people.
But they can laugh, but the number of people that come from hot countries, like the US, like states in the US, Australia, even European countries, and then they come here and they're like, this heat is different. It is not the same. Whether it's because we're an island or, I don't know, the amount of concrete, aircon, the way the buildings are made, it's different here. And London is so built up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree.
Yeah, they can...
I spent time in the Caribbean and it was manageable there. Here, it's just not.
No.
It's a different kind of heat, different kind of experience.
It is. But that is, we won't talk too much about that now because that's what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
But it has kind of taken over the week.
Yeah.
Hence our topic.
It is. Have you done anything else?
No. Don't think so.
No, I didn't think so because I was trying to think of where you've been, what you've been up to.
Yeah, I have not done anything other than, the things I need to do.
The bare, yeah,
in a normal
essentials.
Normal week, but
it's true for me as well. Actually, just the usuals. I've been vegetating in this room.
You did your recording
on Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did some filming with somebody, but I can't talk about that yet. But I did do some filming that probably be out later this year with a company that some of you will know in the blindness community. But otherwise, just the usual week, really. Pretty quiet. It's been too hot to do anything really exciting anyway, so not done that.
Yeah.
So we can skim all the way to the end and ask you about the quiz then.
Yes. So last week's quiz question was, which country has the most islands in the world? We haven't done the comments yet, so I don't actually know if anybody guessed this right.
I don't think I saw any.
No. Do you have any ideas?
I absolutely have none.
I think it's actually a bit surprising. It's Sweden.
Yeah, I would never, ever.
No, and apparently they have over 220,000 islands.
Really?
It's crazy, right?
I'll have to ask Tor about that.
So going with the hot theme this week.
Yes.
The quiz question is, what is the hottest planet in our solar system?
Okay, I can do that. I can do that one. And to learn about that in science. So what comments do we have then?
So if we start with YouTube, from our lovely Marie.
Yeah, of course.
We have, you guys really must have read my mind when developing this episode because all these fears of the future are things I fear every day. Probably not the same ones you guys have about your children because I don't have any of those yet. But I have a lot of fears about my housing situation and money. I'm between jobs at the moment, so things are a little uncertain, and I really don't like when things are uncertain.
No.
Also, you talk about how smells can be very strong memory triggers, and that is so true for me. Betsy always had a very distinct smell, and it was so pleasant and comforting, and I really miss it.
I can relate to that. Yeah. There's people in your life that just have a thing. And when you hug them or if they walk past you, that's that person instantly.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, when we first met, you used to wear a particular perfume and you put it on now for special occasions.
I do.
And every time you wear it, it takes me right back to the day we met.
Yeah.
And you wafted up the corridor to my house.
I know.
That's fun.
She then says, you guys are giving me stronger and stronger reasons to move to England with my fiance, John. He and I absolutely must try Alice's baking. Also, butter chicken again.
Yeah, butter chicken again.
When you have it again, please let me come over. You are always welcome. Come and have the butter chicken. She then says, birds absolutely terrify me to no end. And I think you guys did have an episode on fears, but I can't remember when it was. We did.
It was ages and ages ago.
It was like early days. Also, for your 100th episode, I think you guys should do it live. I will literally drop whatever I'm doing and participate. The ironic thing for me is that I love different bird calls, but birds absolutely terrify me. I'm always afraid they're going to attack me for some reason. The live idea is really cool. And I think, did you mention it?
Somebody did.
Before.
But we will be on holiday during that.
Yeah,
so
we'll be on holiday.
To do.
Yeah, so we can't do it live, but that is something that we could maybe do for an future
episode. But it lines up. If we calculated correctly, then I'm pretty sure we did. It lines up with us being in Italy.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that it lines up. That's like a really good episode number to have abroad.
Yeah, and we might have like some other family members involved.
Yeah, if they decide to join us.
The next one is just 3 emoji hearts from I don't want to say it wrong. Jaron Steele? Jaron.
Tell us.
I'm really sorry if I've said that really badly.
Look, names are hard.
And then we've got James.
Hello, James.
James says, my grandparents once rang me completely out of the blue to say they were coming up to see me that morning. And I explained to them that they couldn't because I had to do all the Christmas shopping because Karen was awaiting a kidney transplant later that day. Their response was quite ridiculous. Oh, but we wanted to give you your Christmas money and stuff, as if that was a priority while someone close to me was having a life-altering operation. Yeah, that's not
Why
great.
would you complain about that? Like, you reschedule. You're old people. You probably have nothing else to do anyway.
Yeah. I just don't like that kind of, we're going to do this, so you have to fit around it sort of mentality.
Yeah.
He then says, I nearly didn't put this comment in because I don't want to upset anyone or make them overly concerned. But I think after everything that's happened in my life, I would say that my biggest fear is being alone when I'm older, alongside being perhaps too old to be able to reap some of the benefits of a relationship without going into too much detail about the last aspect. Lol. The thought of dying alone, having never found that special someone, absolutely terrifies me. And it doesn't sit in my mind all the time, but it is quite profound, if that makes sense. I feel like money difficulties would be harder to face without someone to share those troubles with. Money seems impactful to a greater extent when other aspects of a person's life feel incomplete. I think that may be due to people's social lives being squashed because of a lack of finances, in turn breeding loneliness. I would say that the positive I can take from all of this is that I am likely to find someone in time. Sorry for the essay. In contrast, I'd say it's the only thing that I do fear. I typically have quite a robust attitude to most other aspects of life. P.S. The moose, forgive me if I spelt that wrongly. You didn't. Anyway, it sounds like an inexperienced woodwind player trying to get consistent notes out of an instrument. Definitely wouldn't want to tell one that to its face though, because they're massive.
You don't want to do that.
I think for a lot of people being alone, and then like a lot of elderly people, you know, because even if you have someone and you've been together your whole life and, you know, one of you goes first and then the other person is left. So I think it's
a tough one.
It is a tough one, and it's quite, you know, a normal fear to have.
And I think the older we get, the more we worry about that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, because when you're young, it feels like
that's ages away,
a lifetime away.
Yeah,
because it is usually, hopefully. But it's scary, isn't it, to sort of think who's going to be around with me. Next, we have from James again. Something else positive, which I should say, is that I've learned to stop looking too hard for someone to fill that gap in my life. I didn't even realize that I was doing it until I stopped. We're all different beings and have been on different journeys, but I think the key to survival of life events and life changes is not to harbor regret, but rather to learn from those experiences where applicable. When we look inwardly, it can be extremely beneficial, but as with everything in life that requires balance, how our rationalization impacts others we didn't confide in. We chose to push to the back of our priority list can impact those people negatively too, and becoming really self-focused can make you lose sight of that. I'm not referencing anyone on here, I just mean generally, because keeping those people nearby can help massively to rationalize and reduce the temptations to dwell or to get pulled into an unhealthy cycle. I suppose what I'm saying is live for today and hope for tomorrow. I will now stop rambling.
Valid points.
Very. Also really testing my reading skills here. Not that I can't read, but that whole process
He
of
writes very well, does our
brain
James.
connecting to mouth sometimes takes a bit longer. But yeah, you write incredibly well.
That's what we learned under Mrs. Brock in English.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Wow.
When we bothered to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Which I didn't always.
And yeah, I think it's what you said about not that you stopped looking too hard for someone to fill that gap in your life. I think that's good, because I think sometimes, not that you settle, but when you're looking really, really hard.
It's like buying from the shop, isn't it? I'll just have that one.
Yeah.
Instead of looking for the best thing you can find.
Yeah.
And thing equals person in this case. But shopping is just the same. You can walk down a whole row of shelving units and look at this thing and go, that'll do. You should never settle for that'll do, especially if it's going to be your life partner.
Yeah.
That'll do, will do in the moment, but it won't do tomorrow, next week, next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We didn't do that.
No.
Look where we are now.
And then the last comment from James, he got the quiz question right.
Oh, okay.
Sweden has the most islands, apparently. So
Wow.
well done.
I missed that.
You did get it. And then we have a nice emailed long comment from Pam.
Again.
Thanks,
Pam.
Thank you.
It's nice. She's become like a weekly. I love that.
I know. I really like it. And sharing your experiences. They're just great. So she says, your Don't Fear the Future podcast brought back memories for me. When my kids were little, I loved being right in the middle of everything they were doing. At the time, I didn't want to think about when they no longer needed me or when they were on their own.
Okay, pause. You know this fear. You feel this fear.
Yes.
Every day as a mum, I know you do.
Exactly what I was, talking about last week. It's...
I feel it resonating with you straight away.
100%.
Oh.
I guess the transition happened slowly enough so that by the time Susanna went to college, I was sad that she was going away, but also happy about the new experiences she would soon be having. I did miss her terribly. At the time, I still had Dan at home for a couple more years, so that helped. But then he left for college. I basically didn't know what to do with myself. A year later, I got a part-time job and I'm still working for the same business. The people here are amazing and I'm thankful for having been led to this place. But back to my kids. While they were at college, we communicated often. They came home to visit and David and I enjoyed hearing about their college life. It filled our hearts to see how well they were doing. Now Susanna lives about 3 hours away and is doing great. She is a vet. That's amazing. That was me.
I
Sorry.
thought you knew that.
I didn't know she was a vet. No, I love that.
You should find her on Facebook. That would be so cool.
She is a vet and is able to enjoy her passion, which is owning and riding horses, especially showing them in jumping classes. I wish I could see her more often, but I'm extremely happy seeing her life she has built for herself. Dan and Laurel live 2 hours away in the mountains where they went to college. Laurel has an excellent job. Because they were not happy with their childcare options, Dan sold his retail business so that he could stay at home and care for my little grandson. That's lovely. Mm-hmm. I love that. Rowdy.
Yeah.
Very cute.
I remember that from the last comment.
Yeah. Rowdy is 9.5 months old and is an absolute delight. I'm able to visit them every 3 to 4 weeks. I look forward to and enjoy every minute of my time with them. Again, I couldn't be happier for them. We are all part of a family group text and communicate on a regular basis. Of course, Dan and Laurel share regular videos of little Rowdy. It's great fun to have an easy way to be together. All that being said, I must admit that I would not want to live with either of them, but my visits with them are priceless.
This is it, isn't it? Because you'll be able to have the grandkid and then, you're too
Give them
loud now.
back. That's
you're too
what
rowdy.
my mum always used to say. Yeah, Rowdy's a bit rowdy.
Back you go.
But that's exactly what my mum used to say. It's great. You get to do all the fun stuff and then just give them back at the end of the day.
Quite right.
Yeah. So thank you for all the comments.
I actually try to not read them if I can help it.
Yeah, you do.
It's so that I can enjoy them for the first time when you read them. So Pam's email, for example, I saw it come in and I didn't touch it. I forwarded it straight to you so that I could enjoy it when we did the recording. And I really, I'm getting a kick out of this kind of format that we introduced. I mean, we couldn't have done it before because people weren't commenting before, but now with so many people commenting each week, I love it. I just love it.
Yeah.
So thank you all genuinely so much for this. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, it does.
You all do. The fact that you take the time out of your week to listen to us and to enjoy what we put out just means the world.
Yeah.
93 episodes.
That's why we're still doing it.
I know. Okay. Topic then.
The heat.
The heat.
The heat.
Oh,
yes.
One other thing about my week. It was Father's Day and I did get some lovely new slippers and a jar of sweets.
You did.
Which I don't have a lot. I'm not like a sweet person that much.
I didn't even really realize how much you do like sweets.
Yes.
Like sour sweets. I did not really know that.
I love them.
So when you mentioned it a little while ago, Alice
there's only
and I
one type
came up
of
with the
sweet in
idea.
the jar that I don't enjoy, but that's just one. Everything else is
Oh,
amazing.
you'll have to show me which it is so I know.
I will. But can you explain the jar? It's ginormous.
Yeah, it's a tall glass jar with a sort of wooden lid
And a strap
small,
on the top.
Yeah, like fake leather strap. And it has a huge sticker that says best dad ever, and then lots of different coloured big stars.
It's really cool.
And it's from this online company that, do all different kinds of sweets. So you can choose as many as you want to add to your... They have all different kinds of jars, or you can get them in like bags or pots or all different ways.
Jars are so much cooler than bags.
Well, it's just really nice because then you've got the jar to keep, refill with whatever you want. And
I'm
know.
going to do that.
Of course, of course.
A couple of years ago, you got me these snaffling pig pork rinds for Christmas.
Yeah.
And that had one of those resealable jars.
That was a really good jar until I put it in the dishwasher.
Yeah, and
then
kind of crumbled in on
crumbled
itself.
a bit
It
when
was
it
a bit
heated.
like a car.
It still lasted. I don't actually know. I think it's got sweets in, like, for the kids in the kitchen, actually.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
It was one of those with almost like a padlocky type system. You clip it down and it's rubber, airtight seal. Very good jar again. But this one's even cooler because it's glass.
Well, yeah, that one was plastic. This one's glass.
And this one
It's
has
much
lovely
nicer
stars. You can feel them embossed on the side.
Yeah.
Amazing. So that was a nice part of my week. Yeah, I had forgotten about that. But I'm in my slippers now. And I'm sockless because the heat is just too much.
I don't know how you're even wearing slippers, to be honest.
Because I'm mad.
Yeah.
So what are we doing about this heat thing? We did have a breakthrough, which was nice.
We had a
breakthrough.
A breakthrough?
Yes. By finding the aircon.
So we did have the original aircon from when Alice was a baby. So that's like 13 years ago. But it's been in the sort of shed thing that we have for a couple of years untouched. And it wasn't great the last time we got it out. So we bought a new one. So that at least the living room is pleasant. It doesn't get as cold as some of the smaller rooms would with it because we've, it's a big room.
It is.
I'd say it's like kind of the size of 2 rooms, really.
Yeah, because it's very wide.
It's very wide. And we get a lot of sun in the morning and lunchtime. So the hottest part of the day, we get a lot of sun. So it does really get hot. but it does at least mean that the room is manageable. And if you sit in front of it, it's very cool.
And we should mention we have floor to ceiling doors and windows at the back.
And there's 2 double sets and then 1 on the side. So even with the blinds down, it gets exceptionally hot in here.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's the electronics, which
there's a lot fewer of them than there used to be. We used to have quite a lot of hot computers.
And do you remember one of the TVs that we had before used to give off
unbelievable
amounts of heat? It was crazy.
That was a plasma screen, right? And if anybody knows anything about plasma, those things just get hot no matter the weather. Yeah. In winter, it was a lovely radiator. In summer, don't watch TV.
We just tried not to ever have the TV. It was really bad. So we got that aircon, and that was great. And then the kids' room was reaching like 40 degrees.
Yeah.
Which you can't expect them to be able to sleep. You know, they have to share that room. And it was just, there was no air. Horrible. So we got the old one out, the old aircon, and amazingly, it had survived really well. Jake and I gave it a bit of a clean up, which we did a great job.
You did a fantastic
Popped it in there, and now their room is the coolest in the house. It's like a fridge in there.
I walked in there last night, and it was like walking down the aisle of M&S.
I know. I want to send them out just so that I can have a nap in there, honestly. It's like...
Give them 20 quid. Right? Go away.
I know.
Mummy needs a nap.
It's too hot for them to go out though, bless them. But it's lovely. So they've been sleeping really well, which is nice.
Yeah. I lay down on Alice's bed last night and I said, I'm going to kick you out and just go and sleep in the living room. She was not impressed.
No, I can't. Well, I did say to her the first night, if you wake up and I'm in your bed, don't be surprised.
No.
But we've been okay. We've managed all right. We've got 2 fans.
Yeah. Actually, it's been really nice. We lifted up one of them because we have one of those column fans, if you know the type, or tower fans.
Yeah.
And it's floor standing, but our bed is very high up. So we had to put it on a box, didn't we?
Yeah. I think before we get into ways, I was going to talk about ways that you can help cool.
Yeah.
We could maybe talk about why London is so bad. I mean, the whole country is not great in this heat, but I feel like London does really suck.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to put 2 links in this week's show notes for the podcast. One of them will be the BBC article that I was in last year with a lovely lady called Alice.
Yeah, that's
talked about it at the time. And I jokingly said, all right, so when are you coming around for your next interview with me? Like, don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, if we look at like transport,
yes,
obviously the underground.
Oh, you've been on that a lot this week, as usual.
I've tried to limit it, and I only have been on it for like 1 or 2 stops. I can't, and I really feel for people who have to commute and get to work.
Think about train drivers.
Yeah, because those trains are absolutely stifling. It's just you just melt. It's not nice, and actually it can be dangerous. You know, there are signs in every station saying, you know, please carry water with you.
Necessarily.
The overground, and actually I don't know if maybe the newer line, it's not even called the overground anymore, but it is the overground trains. I don't know if maybe the Elizabeth line has aircon.
I think it does.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm certain it does, because when I was on there with Jake, it was very cool.
Yeah,
no matter
but
what.
Again,
it doesn't go everywhere.
Compared to all of the other lines. Certainly our closest line, the Bakerloo, is vile.
I think the Central line is the worst in London. I think I've read that.
Is it? But some of that's above ground, so you'd think it wouldn't be, although I suppose it doesn't really matter. It just gets hot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the buses, I mean, they have replaced over the last couple of years the majority of the buses, and the double-decker buses mostly, and obviously I can only say about the buses that are close to us. I don't know about other routes, but the ones that are closest to us, most of the double-decker ones, maybe 50-50, have aircon, which is just joyful.
It is.
But the others, and certainly the smaller buses, do not. And that's really, really hard. So just getting around day to day. Not all shops have aircon. So that doesn't help. I read a really interesting article talking about how we don't have enough trees as well. So a lot of pedestrian streets, or not even pedestrian, but what's it called when it's a street and it's just houses? Residential.
Like residential, yeah.
Yeah. Residential streets don't have enough trees, and the trees help to provide shade, but help cool and with the air sort of flow and stuff like that. And so that's a big thing. And obviously one of the things that you mentioned in that article that you were referring to, our houses are built to retain the heat. They're not built for that kind of airflow.
No.
So they're great in the winter, but absolutely shocking in the summer.
Yeah, in the winter we have few complaints. Yeah, we might put on a space heater. I can't even think the word heater without shuddering.
Yeah.
Like, how did we ever need a heater?
I know.
Of course we did, but the brain doesn't remember that.
No, you can't. When it's like this, you can't ever imagine being cold again, can you?
No, apart from when you go in the kids' room.
Yeah. But even then, it's just lovely. Not
it's nice.
Freezing, let's put jumpers and duvets on.
No.
So I found something which was 7 weird but scientifically backed ways to cool your body down.
Nice.
So I thought we could look at some of those.
Let's do it.
So the first one is actually to eat spicy food.
I could do that all day. Let's go.
Yeah. So because it triggers sweating
Yep.
and the sweat evaporation is one of the body's most effective cooling systems, you're helping it cool in that way.
All right. I'll have sweet and sour salmon. Thank you very much.
Yeah. We also have that listening to the sound of water can help you cool down.
Interesting.
So it says, although listening to water not actually lower your temperature, it can make you feel cooler by lowering your heart rate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You can cool down by putting a cold piece of metal in your pocket.
Okay.
So metal conducts heat away from the body much faster than fabric. So they've shown like somebody with a spanner in their pocket. So I guess, give it a go.
Yeah, I tend to
around
sit with
with
my leg against the desk leg.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
there you
cool.
go. You can help cool down by curling your tongue. And that's the thing, because isn't that thing where not everyone can curl their tongue?
Mm-hmm.
Where you like lift the sides up towards the middle. And then if you breathe through your curled tongue, the air cools down, passing over the moist surface area.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've tried this and I can't do it because it makes me gag. But other people might find it helpful. Yes, you can do it. Well done. Yeah, I can curl my tongue. That's fine. You did it with your tongue inside your mouth, though.
Yes.
I don't know. In the picture, you stick your tongue out. I don't know if it makes a difference, but it makes me gag when I do it. So I'm not going to try that again. But yeah.
Fair dues.
The next one is to pretend you're in snow. Studies have found cold visuals can influence how hot people feel, even though the temperature stays the same. Which is why Alice and I ended up watching a Christmas movie last night.
Yeah.
Hoping it would
I
cool
did
us
wonder.
down. Yeah, that was why. Cooling down your wrists or like certain points on your body. So like your wrists and the back of your neck are really good places, and apparently under your arms as well.
All right.
And I think the back of your knees, but I might be wrong with that one. But where your blood vessels sit close to the surface, you're cooling them down, and it sort of helps spread through the rest of the body.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And then the last one is similar to the first, that you can cool by drinking a hot drink.
Yeah, see, I knew that one.
Yeah. So again, it's that triggering the sweat, although probably already sweating, but it sort of helps.
Right, so
the body.
tonight I shall have a real spicy meal followed by a massive cup of tea.
Yeah. And then we'll see what happens to you. We'll do a little experiment.
Yeah.
So some of the other things though that we've maybe tried or heard. I have these, and this is my recommendation for this week.
Oh, yes.
Have not forgotten that. They are a pair of sort of gel-filled slippers.
Which you got for Christmas? Or was it your birthday?
It was just a random present from my auntie last summer because she knew how much I was struggling. And she has them because we're both on a medication that makes you hotter and sweat more. So she understands the pain. But you put them in the freezer for a couple of hours and then you take them out, put your feet in. And again, it's that cooling sensation which spreads over your body. And honestly, they are the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely the best thing. And I, much to your amusement, I wore them last night when we were going to bed. And although they do, warm up, I would say it takes like 20, 30 minutes for them to sort of lose their, maybe 30 minutes for them to lose their cool completely, because obviously it's ridiculously hot. But they really, really helped.
Well, your feet is one of those like nerve centers of the body.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good to cool it.
Yeah. Because in the past, I've come home from, picking up the kids from school or whatever, and we've all been baking hot. And we've all sat on the edge of the bath with our feet in cold water.
Yeah.
So it does help.
Yeah.
It definitely helps. And then there's the, getting a bowl of ice or freezing like water in a like Tupperware box or something and putting that in front of the fan. So you get that breeze.
We haven't done that yet.
We haven't done that because we don't really have anything. We did it in the flat, actually, when Jake was a baby.
Oh, wow.
I think. But we don't really have anything to put it in front of.
Put it in front of the aircon.
So we haven't done that one. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we have done to try and...
Sometimes I'll rinse my face in cold water.
Yeah, anything like that. And cool showers. Yesterday, after I had a bit of a, you'll pardon the pun, a meltdown, I had a cool bath and I just lay in cool water.
Yeah.
And it was definitely warmer when I got out because I'm pretty sure my body heated it up.
Yeah.
But actually having like a cool shower and then being in front of a fan can help as well. Yeah, I think that's all the ways that we...
have tried.
Try to keep cool.
We have hit like 34, 35 degrees C over here. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but I know it's up there.
Yeah.
Because I think 37 is 104, I think, because that's body temperature.
Mm.
Right, so you get up to that kind of temperature. It's not very friendly. I think yesterday was maybe 35 or 6.
So then I found this post from a school teacher who was talking about, obviously, how horrible it is for teachers and kids in schools.
Well, yeah, we didn't even mention that, Alice's school being closed.
No, Alice's school closed because there was a red like health warning, but because of the heat. So they decided to close. A lot of the other local schools have stayed open.
Yeah.
Which I was quite surprised about. But our kids' school, it is a very, very big building. It is very hot in there. And I think partly as well, because a lot of the kids travel to get there.
Yes.
On, the buses and the trains and things. So I think that they've just said they had an inset day on Friday anyway, but yesterday and today they were closed. And Jake was supposed to have his prom tonight. It was supposed to be on a riverboat on the Thames, and they had to cancel that because of this red warning.
He was livid the other night.
It was awful. Now, thankfully, since then, they have rebooked it, and it's on Monday, which is going to be cooler.
Yeah, because people have spent money on suits and all the things.
And we've paid for tickets. We've done fundraisers, like all kinds of things to pay for this. So, yeah. It's posted by this teacher. She was saying the funny things that her year 10, especially boys, have come out with in this heat. So we have things like, Miss, with respect, I'm not doing any more work when it's like this. If I die, tell my mum I tried. I have sweated in parts of my body I didn't know could sweat. Miss, can you give me a behaviour point and send me to the office? At least they've got aircon in there. If learning was going to happen, it would have happened by now. Can you sue the sun? The only thing being tested today is my patience.
Yesterday
Miss,
that
I've
was
stopped
you.
revising because now I'm just surviving.
That's a great rhyme.
I know. I'm not saying I'll do better with all of this if I go home, but we'll never know unless we try, will we, miss? This can't be legal. If I finish my work, can I lie on the floor?
Reminds me of Alice.
This classroom smells like Lynx, Africa, and defeat.
That is...
Miss, if I pass out, do I still get marked as present? This weather feels personal. And yeah, that was the last one.
It's all true.
It is all true. And you do have to feel for these kids and teachers because it's just horrible.
A lot of them reminded me of Jake too.
Yeah, I definitely feel like he would have come out with a few of those.
That's
And then
great.
the last thing that I wanted to talk about, which I feel is really, really important, is our animals in this weather. There are still some absolutely ridiculous people who think it's okay to take their dogs for walks in 30 plus heat, and it's really not okay.
Well, the pavement is way too hot to be walking on
Exactly.
in bare feet.
Exactly. If you can't hold your hand on the ground for 5 seconds, then your dogs cannot be walking on it. And especially if you've got, the flatter face dogs, dog breeds, particularly young breeds, older,
Slower as well.
older, slower, yeah, the thicker furred dogs, it's just not okay. They will not die from missing a few walks, but they will die from heat stroke. So
Yes, because not only that, but if they collapsed onto that, unable to get up, then they'll have however many third-degree burns or whatever.
That's it. It's just not okay. Their little paws and everything, and the breathing, and So
what have you been doing to mitigate that?
So the most important thing, I've been getting up really early to take Penny for a walk. So she gets out before 7:00. So we do like 6:30 to 7:30. We go for a walk. We don't go to the parks because she is so overexcited about the park and playing with a ball that she gets herself so hyped up and even hotter. So we only do road walks, which is perfectly fine. They don't have to go to the park every day. Sniffing and having that kind of interaction on the road is just as good stimulation. So please don't think you have to take them to the park every single day.
That's also your recommendation.
Yeah, it's really not necessary. It's great to go to the park, but the stimulation that they get from just sniffing everything is also really, really great for them. So that's the main thing, is that she's only been going for one walk. I've not let her go in the garden in peak times unless she absolutely has to, and it's to go out, go to the toilet and back in. Now, we're lucky that we have the garden. If you have to take your dogs out, just carry them to, if you can, to a bit of grass so they can go to the toilet, or, the quickest you can get them out and get them back in again. Obviously, lots of fresh water. We're really lucky that Penny likes to drink, so she will just, take care of that. Some dogs aren't so great. So things like a bit of watermelon, cucumber, putting bits of food and treats and stuff into water so they have to fish it out can be really helpful.
Like apple bobbing.
Yeah, exactly. Ice cubes into their bowls. It's not great to give them too many ice cubes, like to feed them, because it can sometimes not be great for their stomachs if they're already over hot. So if your dog is already like overheated, giving them ice cubes might not be great. Cool towels, if you can, if they're, you're trying to cool them down, and like longer haired dogs.
They really should just take the coat off,
I know. Usual things like the fans and keeping the blinds down and all that stuff that we would do to keep ourselves cool.
There's also the other thing, which is not animal related, but us related. We forgot about closing the window.
Yes, closing the window during the day
and opening it at night,
and keeping the heat out, and then opening it in the evening.
which feels completely like averse to what you would think.
But it actually has helped us.
Didn't close it today. I forgot.
No, I did. It's fine. But yeah, closing it early so that because once you've got that hot air in the house, you can't get rid of it then.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. Yeah, replacing walks for dogs with games and puzzles and, scatter feeding and hide and seek games and all those kind of things so that they're still using their brain. It's fine.
And I think if Susanna were to listen to this, she would probably agree.
I would hope so.
Maybe
you can do lots of things in the freezer, like Kongs, licky mats, all those kind of safe toys. If you've got shaded spots outside, you could do paddling pools, sprinklers,
we haven't
ice
done that
packs.
in ages.
Huh?
We haven't done the paddling pool in ages.
Well, the kids kind of grew out of it. And also the grass is not really grass out there. It's weeds and it's very spiky.
Yeah.
So it just popped things.
I'm all meant for her, though, not for the kids.
Yeah, she doesn't really like paddling pools. When we've been on holiday in the past, my auntie's dog, she loves her paddling pool. She's in and out of it all day long. Penny was not really that fussed.
Oh.
But yeah, like ice packs under a towel can be really good. That also can help with cats. So that's the other thing, is trying to keep your cats cool. Cats are not great at sitting on like cooling mats that you can buy and things. But sometimes just a couple of ice packs underneath a towel can be a bit more appealing. But, ultimately cats will just do whatever they want. Tiled floors can be really good.
I wish we had more of that.
For dogs. Yeah. And then the only other thing... Oh, actually, one more thing with dogs. Never leaving them in cars.
Or kids.
Unattended.
Come on.
Kids as well.
We already heard the story of that this week.
Yeah, I know. Never ignore really heavy panting. And no like excessive play, sort of fetch games and stuff like that. You really need to watch them.
They do not regulate very well.
Yeah. Especially if you've got a very excitable creature like we do. The warning signs for heat stroke for dogs are excessive panting, thick drool, red gums or tongue, weakness and wobbliness, vomiting, diarrhea, confusion, and collapsing. But hopefully you will prevent that from happening. But if it does happen, you need to stop everything that they're doing, move them to a cooler, shaded spot, cool them with water on their tummy and their thighs, create airflow with a fan, and get to a vet immediately. The only other thing I was going to mention about small animals as well, because that can also be quite hard. Like we've got the guinea pig, and Alice has been trying to keep her cool. So she's put a fan on her. But also one thing that we do is either with a like plastic water bottle that you fill up and freeze, or an ice pack, putting it inside a sock or wrapping it in some kind of thin fabric because you don't want them to be able to eat it. And then putting that in their cage can really help them to cool down as well. Because, small animals outside, rabbits, guinea pigs, all those in hutches and everything, they're also really susceptible to the heat.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my lot.
Your animal recommendation.
Yes, just because I find it so hard to see these poor little things suffering. They can't tell us that they're struggling. So we really need to do everything we can to look after them.
There you go. You've been told by the wise one. So, with that, do you have a story for us to end on?
It's not heat related, but it is quite funny. So this is a new type of toilet, which has just been created in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a robot toilet that comes to you when it's needed.
Oh, great.
So, if you're in bed and the bathroom's a bit too far away and you need to go to the loo, you can summon this Chinese toilet.
Japanese toilet?
Huh?
Japanese toilet, isn't it?
No, it's Chinese.
Oh, you said in Japan, though.
No, I thought I said Chinese.
Oh. Wow.
Okay, well, maybe we'll have to listen back to that. I definitely meant to say Chinese if I didn't.
Maybe you did.
It's worth around $13,000. And yeah, it's
cheap.
an AI-powered autonomous robot toilet.
Because of course it is.
Huh?
Because of course it is.
Of course. Now, they are saying that it was built specifically for people with disabilities, semi-disabilities, or limited mobility because the toilet finds you.
Yeah.
So it also has like AI 3D obstacle avoidance, so it can navigate around the floor, a bit like the robot hoovers.
Yeah.
And apparently has been said to have better spatial awareness than most people parallel parking.
Spatially aware.
Yeah. And then it takes itself back to its docking station. It runs with low noise and has a self-cleaning cycle and a foam shield with activated charcoal filters to make sure that the air in the room keeps clean. So you haven't got, all the particles and stuff.
So, there's a scene in Outnumbered, and I think it's Ben just keeps saying, I'm a toilet.
Yeah.
And I'm just reminded of this.
Yeah.
And so now it'd be like, don't call me, I'll call you. I'm a toilet.
Basically.
Great.
There you go. If you got a spare $13,000, you can get a toilet that will come to you.
Great. I don't know what I think about that.
I think for the idea of it being for people with disabilities, I think that's great. If getting out of bed is hard enough to then have to get to.
Yeah.
And there are those sort of commode type toilets, but.
Yes, there are.
They're not great.
No, I suppose it does have application.
So for things like that, it is a huge amount of money, obviously.
Yeah.
But
I just don't know, like a free roaming toilet sounds like the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah.
But there he is.
The evil toilet's going to get you.
It is. Oh, gosh. It could be a Stephen King novel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I want that.
Yeah.
But that's been us for this hot week. Hopefully next week will be a little cooler. I think by Saturday it's supposed to calm down a bit, so that'd be nice. But yeah, if you are going to buy one of these toilets, just record what it sounds like for posterity. And for your posterior. Right, so with that, I think I'm going now. I'm going right now. Yes, right now.
Yes.
Thank you so much for listening. And until next week.
Bye.